start without you. Start without you. How's this one? Nope.
You haven't spent that money yet, have you? Got it. Yeah. Okay. Continuing our media availability here in advance of the 57th annual Coca-Cola 600. We have our most recent winner in the Sprint Cup Series. He took home $1 million last Saturday night, although he told me he hadn't seen the $1 million yet. But Joey Logano joins us. He's the driver of the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske. And Joey, got a couple questions, but how can you capitalize off the momentum of winning the All-Star race? Because obviously, I would think as an athlete, winning breeds more winning. But then also for Team Penske, how big would it be for you and the organization to win the Coca-Cola 600 on Memorial Day weekend?
Well, I think we on here. No. Man, I had a great answer too for you.
See if that other one's working. See if that other mic's working, would you?
Hello? You got me now?
No. Hang on a second here. We're trying to get this squared away.
It did do the right thing.
Hang on a second, Joey.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
There you go.
Hey.
There you go, Joey. Take two, Joey.
What was the question? I'm just kidding. Momentum. Yes, definitely gives us momentum. For us and our race team, the 22 team in particular. Going into last weekend, we came off 3 crashes in a row. Not that our confidence gets killed in those moments. I think our team's a lot stronger than that, but it is nice to break through after 3 tough weekends and be able to break through and get that victory, first victory of the year. And even though the All-Star race didn't count for points, we really want to win this Coca-Cola 600. I think it's been a long time since a Coca-Cola driver has won one of these things. So as a Coke family member, I want to make that happen. And I feel like I got a good car so far in practice. We've only been in qualifying trim, but it's not really a whole bunch different from last weekend. So I'm really excited about it. I think we got a good piece. I think I got a piece that possibly compete for the pole later on tonight. And we'll wait and see what happens.
Questions for Joey. We'll start right here with Rick, and then we'll go to Nate.
Hey, Joey, obviously you and Brad support each other. And it just, I guess I was thinking about what happened with Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch a few weeks ago in Richmond. How do you strike the balance between being supportive of each other as a group, all trying to get to the same place, versus, by nature, you guys have to be ultra conservative, competitive to do this for a living?
Racing your teammate is the hardest thing. The ultimate goal is racing each other for the win, right? That's what the ultimate goal is. In that situation, it's very hard to understand what is acceptable and what is not. I think Brad and I have a good understanding on what that is. We have a great relationship, a great friendship. I think we know each other well enough to know what's acceptable and what is not. A lot of times you look at the big picture and a lot of things as well. Sometimes there's a short-term gain there for a long-term loss. So he's got to look past the hood pins a little bit in those situations. Not to say we're not going to race each other for the win. Of course we're going to race each other for the win. I would expect that from him, and you're damn sure right. I'm going to do it too. we're gonna race for a win for sure, but we're not going to crash each other. And what is the line? It could be different for each team. each driver combination could be completely different. Kyle and Carl, whatever happened after that, if that's acceptable, if it's not, that's something that should be discussed behind doors, and not have to be out for everybody. But I think, everyone has their line in the sand, and where that is sometimes up for negotiations and it can change a lot as the season goes. But I feel like in our case, Brad and I, we're going to race for wins together. We know that. We've already finished 1-2 twice this year, so we're going to be in that situation, and I feel like we have a good understanding where that is.
We'll go to Nate, then we'll come over to Kelly.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Joey, there's been some ideas floated about ways to incentivize the All-Star race, and one of those has been maybe tying an All-Star race win to a chase berth. Do you think that is something that might have merit, and would you trade your $1 million for a guaranteed spot in the chase right now?
Oh, it's not my $1 million for one, but two, would I trade it? I don't know. I choose both. Can I do that? That's my typical answer. I want it all. I don't know if you need to incentivize something more than throwing $1 million out in front of a driver. I mean, I don't know. It's enough to make me race. Apparently, it's enough to make Kyle Larson race and the rest of us out there the other night to race hard. I think that was enough. I don't know if we need to throw more in it. As the winner of the All-Star race, hey, yeah, of course I'm going to say I'd rather have some points for it. Yeah, it'd be nice to have both, but it's the All-Star race. That's what it's all about. It's supposed to be not for points. It's not supposed to be for anything else besides $1 million. That's all anyone talks about last week. Is that's what it's all about. It's all about the big check at the end. Nothing else means anything. And I don't see why we need to change that. Maybe you guys have different opinions. I don't know. I've been kind of out of the loop, so I don't know. But I thought it was pretty good for the last, I don't know how many years I've had that race, but it seems like everyone's always raced hard in it and had that nothing to lose mentality.
Over here to Kelly.
Thanks. Kelly Bardick, WCCB Charlotte. You talked about momentum. How has your confidence grown? I mean, you won the last 2 Cup races here, if you include the All-Star race and the 500.
Yeah, this is it's become one of our best racetracks for sure. Anytime you go to the racetrack and the last 2 races you've run, you've won. That makes you feel good. Obviously gives you a lot of confidence going into the race. But this track changes so much. Obviously we've gone through, this will be the 3rd different rules package in the last 3 races here. If you look at what happened here in last fall to the All-Star race to now, it's 3 different packages from the rules standpoint. So, it takes something different every time. But I think the one thing that's consistent is that feel inside the race car you need to have, and being able to communicate that to your crew chief. And Todd really understands what that is, and we're able to talk about that and be able to make sure we have it in our car. That's the hard part, is making sure you get that feel in the car, because what worked last week probably isn't going to work as well. Or, I mean, you can have a direction on things, but it's probably going to take something a little bit different to make the car work this week, because things are going to be a little bit different.
Raise your hand right here. We've got the affiliate right there. Raise your hand. See him, Jana? And then we'll come back over here to Tom Jensen.
Hey, Joey Logano, Fox 46 Charlotte. Can you just speak on the importance of the name that's going to be on your windshield on Sunday?
Yeah, I think when you look at everybody, everyone's cars have a fallen soldier on their windshield. That's something I think is a great idea from the NASCAR side, from the teams working with them. There's no telling what that individual has gone through, but there's no telling what that family's going through either. And I think this is a great way to honor our soldiers that are out there fighting for our freedom. And this weekend obviously is one of the most important weekends for that. And I think the racetrack also does a great job here. Every time we race here on Memorial Day weekend, before the race, there's always, I don't know what's going on, because usually we're in a driver's meeting, but I always hear stuff shooting and things going to helicopters, and there's always something big going on. I know that. And I think that service is definitely very special to be able to say thank you. That's what this weekend's all about, is saying thank you to all our veterans and our currents in the military right now. And that's I don't think any of us can, maybe some of you have been in the military before, and if so, thank you, but I don't think any of us that have not been in it can ever understand. I know I don't. I try to hear their stories and I can't fathom them. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's amazing how they can do what they do. So it's only right that we can shake their hand and say thank you, or put a name on a race car.
Right here, Tom.
Hi, Joey, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Best weekend in racing of the year. Do you watch Monaco or the Indy 500 before this race? And do you wish you could also race in one of those?
I really like the Coca-Cola 600. And to be honest with you, I'm so focused in on it, I don't really watch anything else. You know, yes, I'll kind of flip through the Indy 500 throughout the day periodically, but not very often. I'm not as focused in on that. I got a race of our own that we have to worry about. But as a Team Penske driver, obviously we have a lot to root for of an Indy at the Indy 500. So, but what a cool race weekend. You know what I mean? When you think about the three big races and this being one of our crown jewel events, I believe it is at least. And you know, I think it's just a cool race weekend for a race fan. You know, you can watch three huge races, and where there's a lot on the line, and that's pretty fun to be a part of that.
Let's go right in the middle to Dave.
Dave Exum, Independent Tribune. Joey, could you talk about Chase Elliott and kind of like, if you had advice for him, what would it be? And you know, can you just kind of like briefly compare your rookie year to what he's going through?
This is a lot better than my rookie year. So that's what I figured out so far. Chase has done a great job. He's had a little more experience than I did coming into the Cup Series, but he's still young, obviously, and you know, he's a hard worker, and that's something I appreciate about him. You know, as someone coming in, obviously has a great opportunity. You know, and has a lot of people behind him supporting him. You can go down the wrong road in a heartbeat and believe you're larger than life and believe you're better than everybody. He doesn't seem to have that attitude, which is pretty cool, which must mean he's raised well. And you know, he seems like he works at it really hard. He seems to be a student of sport, and I think that's pretty cool to see. I went to lunch with him before the season started, and he picked my brain for a while, and kind of wishing I didn't tell him much. I'm having to race him already. So, but it's cool to see the young guys come into the sport. That's something fun for me. I was, for the longest time, I was the only young guy in the sport, you know, and you're kind of on your own. So it's kind of neat. I was talking to Kyle Larson after the race last week. I said, it's fun, you know, that the young guys are out there racing for the win like that. That's what it's all about. You know, it's fun to see the sport kind of transitioning like that. And not to say that the guys that have been in it are very tough and obviously are always up there, but it's cool to kind of see a new mix kind of coming in a little bit.
We'll go to Woody, and then we'll end with David Scott.
Woody Kane with MRN. Joey, over to your left. Just curious about the new rules package that was announced that you're going to run a couple of times this year and look forward to next year. How much different is that going to be for you guys at Michigan, where you did the high drag package a year ago?
Oh, different compared to the high drag package, but directionally correct if you ask me. You know, I think anytime we take downforce off the cars, I think we've seen it's a win. You know, I talked in here the other night after we won it, and you know, yeah, everyone wants to talk about the format. I want to talk about what was amazing that night, which was the ability to race. You know, we were able to move up the racetrack and get to the outside of cars and to the bottom and race each other and pass each other. And if you looked at a year ago at the All-Star race, we couldn't even get near each other. Michigan is going to be that times 10. With that high drag package, we all learned not the way to go. That was wrong. We figured that out. We learned it. We learned our lesson. We're going to go back with something 180 degrees the other way. That's completely different, and we're gonna, you know, be even better than I think the package we have now that we're racing with the small spoiler we got now. We were gonna make the hole in the air even smaller and less aero dependent, which in theory should make it even more better racing and more better racing. It'll be more better. So I think that'll be something exciting to see and be able to get off the throttle at Michigan. You know, there's at times, you know, there's just, you're wide open going so fast, and from what I hear from the drivers that are up there, I wasn't there, but from what I hear, they're out of the gas quite a bit, and you know, still going really fast at the end of the straightaways. Top speeds are going to be fast for sure, but there's that acceleration and needing to lift, and that's going to create passing out there.
Final question, David Scott.
David Scott from the Charlotte Observer. Joey, can you talk about the relationship you have with the IndyCar drivers, with Penske, you all being under the same roof up there, especially this time of year, and maybe guys like Simon and Will who live in the Charlotte area too, and maybe what it's like for them to be here in NASCAR country?
You know, we do quite a bit of things together. You know, as a Team Penske teammates, even though it's a completely different series, but the shop's still connected to our shop. You know, the NASCAR shop's connected to the Indy shop, and a lot of their resources are shared. You know, so we talk a lot. Obviously, I know Juan pretty well from when he was over here, and have been able to build a relationship with Simon and Will and Elio. I don't know how anyone can't get along with Elio. So, you know, there are a lot of interesting personalities because none of them are from here. So it's, you know, trying to figure out what they're saying with their accents a lot of times is really hard for me to understand what they're saying. But we have fun. There's a lot of, like I said, fun personalities to be around, and it makes it the Indy 500 more enjoyable for me to be able to watch it, because you have those relationships with those guys, and obviously success over there a lot of times helps the NASCAR side. You know, that momentum, we talk about momentum in general, well, that's another avenue we can you know, get more momentum.
Joey, thank you very much for coming in, and good luck to you and Team Penske this weekend.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.